Alrighty, before we start today's episode, I'd like to give a quick shout to our sponsor, and that sponsor is our good friends over at Ether Diamonds. Ether Diamonds is the world's most sustainable diamonds and the only diamonds that are actually good for the planet. Ether creates the world's first positive impact diamonds made from air through a process that removes harmful air pollution, captures the carbon from it, and retasks that carbon to a higher purpose in their one-of-a-kind diamonds. These are 100% real diamonds with a real impact. In fact, every carat of Ether Diamonds offsets your personal carbon footprint for over a year. To learn more about these revolutionary diamonds made from air, visit their website at etherdiamonds.com and follow them on social media at Ether Diamonds. All of their social media sites and their website will be down in the description below. All right, let's get the episode started. Hey guys, it's JJ. Thanks so much for listening to the Sports Town podcast, or the STP pod for short. If you're listening on an audio platform such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and others, thanks so much. We can't thank you enough. If you have not, don't forget to rate the pod. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you're listening through or watching through YouTube, thank you as well. If you have not already hit that subscribe button, feel free to. Also, don't forget to comment, like any videos that you have not, and don't forget to hit that bell for notifications so you'll be updated when we release new content. On today's Sportstown podcast, we have a great interview with the guys over at the Touching Gloves Boxing Podcast. That was a great conversation. We discussed the Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley fight. We also talked about some other upcoming fights like Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. We also talked a little about Tommy Fury. There was just a plethora of different boxing and fighting matchups we also fought. I think we also talked about who Conor McGregor would fight next. But anyways, that's all in the interview, and you will enjoy it very much. Also, don't forget to follow them, or you can find their podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm not sure if they're on YouTube as well, but you can Google that, or you can look that up on YouTube. And then, of course, they're also probably on iHeartRadio, Pandora, all those good stuff. And then, of course, you can check them out on Instagram, at Twitter, at Touching Gloves Boxing Podcast. And, of course, as always, we have the Sports Lightning Round, questions from Instagram, highlight of the week, poll question, and much more. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Sports_podcast, or on Twitter at SportsTownPod. All right, that's it, and I think we're ready to go. All right, let's get the episode underway. Alrighty, it's time for our weekly poll question, and today's poll question, of course, you can vote at Instagram and Facebook at Sportstown_podcast, or on Twitter at SportsTownPod. And today's poll question, which we actually had two, the first one is, who do you guys have likely winning the college football playoff championship this year? The top three teams, which are Alabama, Oklahoma, and Clemson, or the field? Overwhelmingly, you guys said the field. I thought for sure you guys would say the top three, but you guys say the field, and I don't know if I kind of disagree with that, but anyways, it's still a good talking point. But again, thanks for voting on that one. The next question comes from, who should fight Jake Paul next? Now, I didn't get a whole lot of responses on that one, but I did get a few Tommy Furies, and I did get a few Conor McGregors, but I think Tommy Fury's probably would be his next matchup. I don't know who he's going to really fight next, to be honest. I'm just going to guess Tommy Fury. I've heard a little bit about Conor McGregor. I've also heard some other UFC fighters like Kamaru Usman, but I think it's going to end up being Tommy Fury one way or another. But again, thanks for voting. You can vote at Instagram and Facebook at Sportstown_podcast, or on Twitter at SportsTownPod.
This is the highlight of the week.
One is sent to left center. All the outfielders are just going to watch it go.
Scott, when he hit that ball, I watched came and round of contact. Oh my goodness.
Two great games from Paul Goldschmidt as he has two homers in the win 8-5 against the Brewers on Thursday, September 23rd. Now, this game, I think, was broadcasted on YouTube, and it was called by Scott Braun, Tom Beriducci, and reporter Brett Dolan. But Paul Goldschmidt, two homers as the Cardinals take care of the Brewers, and Brewers, they better watch out. The Cardinals might catch him. Probably not for the NL Central, but the Cardinals, man, at the time of this recording, they have 14 straight wins. I think they're tied with the Cubs 1-1 on the time of this recording, by the way I'm recording this on Saturday. But what a game for for Paul Goldschmidt. The Cardinals have just been super hot. But again, great call from Scott Braun, Tom Beriducci, and Brett Dolan. Cardinals could be scary as they defeat the Milwaukee Brewers 8-5. The game, of course, was broadcasted exclusively on YouTube.
The STP Sports Lightning Round. Your biggest sports stories in the world this past week.
Former light heavyweight champion Jon Jones was arrested on Friday morning for battery, domestic violence, injuring, and tampering with a vehicle in Las Vegas, Nevada. The news was first reported by ESPN. This is not the first time that Bones has been in trouble with the law. His last incident came in 2015 at Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was then charged with a hit-and-run crash. According to multiple reports, his car crashed with another car that was being driven by a pregnant woman. The 34-year-old also had another incident in 2019 that involved a waitress in a strip club. In 2019, Jones was convicted with a charge in battery. He allegedly slapped her, choked her, and kissed her, and that all was the same waitress. The number one pound-for-pound fighter was also arrested last year for a DUI and using a firearm. He has been charged with numerous criminal acts over the years. After the news of his arrest, UFC President Dana White was not happy and had this to say about the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. It's hard to bring this guy to Vegas for any reason. This city is not good for Jones, and here we are again. It's not even shocking anymore. When we bring him here, it's almost expected. We can't even get him to Las Vegas for less than 12 hours and incident him into the Hall of Fame. It's a problem. This guy's got a lot of demons. Man, a lot of demons. Jones was in Vegas this week because of his epic fight back in 2013. Jones has not fought since February of 2020 after beating Dominic Reyes in a unanimous decision at UFC 247. Bones is considered the greatest UFC fighter of all time and has a pro MMA record 26-1. He is currently getting ready to fight the winner of Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane for the undisputed heavyweight title. Jones recently relinquished his light heavyweight belt to capture the heavyweight belt in the UFC. Former number one overall pick Andrew Wiggins has been denied an exemption to not receive the COVID-19 vaccine. Wiggins requested this because of a religious exemption but was denied by the NBA. It was first reported by Shams Charania of The Athletic and Stadium. If the former Kansas product does not receive the vaccine, he will not be allowed to play home games this season for the Warriors unless he is traded to a team that is in a state that does not have a vaccine mandate or very relaxed. The Warriors forward said back in March he had no plans to receive the vaccine unless he was forced to. Reported by multiple sources in the NBA, 90% of the league is vaccinated. The NBA made a rule recently that every staff member in the league needs to be vaccinated unless you are a player. However, players that are not vaccinated need to be tested every day and sometimes even twice a day. Players that play in states that do not require the vaccine are allowed to play in San Francisco, New York City, and Brooklyn, but players that play in those cities need to be vaccinated to play home games. This is the San Francisco's public health rule and the vaccine. Under the current order, if unvaccinated, they cannot enter indoor areas regardless of the reason. They are unvaccinated and cannot test of this requirement even if they have a medical or religious exemption. This same rule applies to performers and players employed by the host at a large and mega indoor events, who are covered by the vaccine requirements of the health order. The only way the 26-year-old can play home games this season without the vaccine is if he gets traded. Although there have been no reports that he will get traded, and there are currently no teams interested in the former Timberwolf, according to multiple reports. The Warriors are confident that every player will be able to play their home opener on October 19th. Last season, Wiggins averaged 18 points per game, close to 5 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, and shot 47% from the floor. All right, before we continue with the sports lightning round, I do want to give a quick shout out or tell you guys why I haven't done I haven't done anything about the Anthony Joshua fight. I know he just got upset on Saturday. At the time of this recording, he just got upset. But the reason why I didn't have enough time to get it done, but if you are subscribed to my YouTube channel or just check it out, with the link will be down in the description below. I'll have a video coming in the next few days. So again, just keep aware of that. And also you follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Most of the time the video will come out as well. So again, don't forget to check that out. That's the one reason I just didn't have enough time to put it in. But again, just remember just to watch, because probably on Monday or Tuesday I'll post a video about it. All right, let's continue with the sports lightning round. Former Browns, Patriots, and Seahawks wide receiver Josh Gordon is back in the NFL. Well, sort of. It was first reported by ESPN's Adam Schefter that Josh Gordon has been reinstated by the NFL. Josh Gordon has been suspended 6 times with the league for substance and abuse in his career. The 30-year-old receiver has not played in the NFL since 2019 when he signed with the Seahawks. The Patriots released the veteran and Seattle signed him through waivers. Gordon was expected to play for the Seahawks last year, but right before he began practicing with the team, the NFL changed their minds and did not allow the former Baylor product to play. In the spring, Gordon played in the FCF, which is short for Fan-Controlled Football League. The league is controlled by fans, and they even call the plays. He played with his former Browns teammate Johnny Manziel. He is free to sign with any team now that he is an unrestricted free agent. He had 11 receptions for 426 yards with the Seahawks and Patriots in 2018 and 2019. He also had 11 TDs. At one time, Gordon was an All-Pro in 2013 with the Browns. However, he has struggled with the loss since then and has not been the same player since. Many fans are expecting that he will reunite with the Seahawks and reunite with head coach Pete Carroll. Freshman phenom quarterback Jackson Dart could be out for a while, first reported by 24/7 Sports. The USC quarterback filled in for the three-year starter Kelvin Slovis and played extremely well. He threw for 391 yards, 4 TD passes, 2 interceptions, and 32 rushing yards. He was also 30 of 46. He broke the school record for the most passing yards in his debut. The Trojans came back and beat Washington State 45-14. He filled in for Slovis because he went down with a neck injury. However, interim head coach Deontay Williams did not really specifically say how long the freshman would be out, but it might be a while before we see Jackson Dart again this season. Dart was a 4-star recruit from Utah State. He was ranked as the 10th best quarterback recruit and was ranked as the 69th best overall player in the 2021 class. The 2004 BCS champs also have another freshman quarterback to back up Kelvin Slovis. Milan Moses is a freshman quarterback that was ranked as the 12th best quarterback in the nation according to Rivals.com. Moss will back up Slovis until Dart returns from his injury. This is what Deontay Williams had to say about Slovis. He already has command of the offense, and a lot of guys in this locker room, including myself, believe in him. He's won a lot of football games here, and he's played and saw a lot of different defenses. USC plays Colorado next week. Things are getting interesting between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. Jake Paul, YouTuber, now turned boxer, has offered Tommy Fury one more last contract to get a fight done before the year. According to Jake Paul, he has offered Tommy Fury $1 million to fight the undefeated boxer. However, Tommy Fury, who is a stepbrother to the ring and WBC champion Tyson Fury, has stated that the offer that Paul gave him was not even worth getting out of bed for. Fury last fought Anthony Taylor and won it in unanimous decision. In fact, his last win came on the Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley card. Jake Paul is 4-0 with wins over Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley. Both were former UFC fighters. After Fury rejected his 2 offers, Paul went to Twitter and tweeted, "Tommy, it's like Eminem said, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Make the right choice." On the other side, Fury, the reality show star and boxer, stated about the deal Paul made to him. To everybody out there, $1 million for a fight of this magnitude is not even worth getting out of bed for. This fight is going to gross millions and millions of pounds. I cannot walk down the street with anybody asking me, when are you fighting Jake Paul? So until you want to make a serious offer and put it on the table, we can't think about fighting pal. He even accused Jake Paul that he was ducking the fight and does not really want to fight him. One thing is for sure though, many fans are waiting to see who Jake Paul fights next. The New York Knicks are the second team in the NBA to be fully vaccinated. Them and the Detroit Pistons are the only NBA teams currently to be fully vaccinated. It was reported on Friday that the entire staff of the Knicks, including the front office, coaching staff, and players, have received their COVID-19 shot. The Knicks can now have all of their players active for their home games starting this season. New York, like California, has a state rule that requires people to be fully vaccinated or will not be able to play inside of a building that has over 12 people in it. Knicks GM Scott Perry told the AP on Friday, "I'm proud to say that our organization, players, coaches, and staff are 100% fully vaccinated. And I think it's a credit to our players, too, in particular, that they took this thing very seriously and took the responsibility to get that done." The 2-time NBA champions did not have to deal with that many COVID outbreaks last season. The only players who had to miss some games because of coronavirus were Derrick Rose and Alec Burks. The Knicks had a great season last year and made the playoffs for the first time since 2013. However, they were defeated by the Hawks in 5 games in the first round. One of the best defensive players in the game will not be playing on Sunday. Pittsburgh Steelers pass rusher TJ Watt has officially been ruled out versus the Bengals on Sunday. Watt is one of the highest paid defensive players in the game and just signed a lucrative deal with the Steelers just a few weeks ago. Despite missing most of training camp and all of preseason this year, Watt started versus the Bills and did not miss a beat against the defending AFC champions. However, he suffered a groin injury in the second quarter in a loss to the Raiders 27-16 last week. He did not return for the rest of the game. He was still listed as questionable on Friday afternoon, giving many Steeler fans hope. However, the Steelers put that to rest and listed him as out on Saturday morning. The defending AFC North champ signed the veteran Ingram in July to provide depth, but it looks like he really will play a pivotal role in the Steelers season this year. James, on the other hand, has played 16 snaps this season and will have his first career start on Sunday versus rival Cincinnati. The six-time Super Bowl champions will also be without wide receiver Deontay Johnson. The Steelers have signed Cody White to replace him and have more depth. The Steelers and Bengals are both 1-1. Despite all the losses for the Steelers, they are still a 3-point favorite to win the game. And now, on to our interview with the Touching Gloves Boxing Podcast. Before we start today's episode, I'd like to give a quick shout to our sponsor of today's video, and that sponsor is our good friends over at HelpYouFind.me. You're probably asking yourself, JJ, what is HelpYouFind.me? Well, I'll tell you what it is. Peter Sanchez, the founder, creator, and owner, was originally worried about his daughter and his mom always asking him for his travel details. HelpYouFind.me was initially created for collective peace of mind. 48 hours. These are the most critical moments to find you in the event of an emergency, or worse, waiting for the legal process to access your important history information, which can take up to weeks upon weeks upon weeks. With HelpYouFind.me, you have your own secure and encrypted digital If I Go Missing file that can give you your most trusted people access to virtual information much sooner than the authorities. Each person you share with that has its own access rules, and everything is completely encrypted. Not even HelpYouFind.me can access it. This puts you in total control of your data. You can also update your location, submit photos, screenshots, and post random information or notes on the go. It's as easy as texting with a friend. To find out more information, go to HelpYouFind.me. Also, don't forget to use the promo code down below in my description. If you use the promo code STP2021 to get 15% off your first order. Again, that promo code is STP2021 to get 15% off your first order. And go to, if you want more information, go to HelpYouFind.me. And again, I'll put the link down in the description down below. All right, let's get back to the show. Alrighty, I am pleased to be joined by the two hosts of the Touch Gloves Boxing Podcast, BNG and Trey. How's it going, guys?
Well, good.
All right. Again, thanks for coming on kind of a late notice. But of course, the big fight happened on Saturday between Sunday night, between Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. But before we get talking about that, if you guys want to talk more about your podcast, all that good stuff.
Yeah, Trey, when you're ready.
Yes. Well, we have a new show. It's called Touch Gloves Boxing. It's obviously powered by Never a Foul, who they've obviously been able to grow their platform through the sort of football soccer community. And we've obviously come in and we're here to change the game. And my good cousin here, BNG, is obviously going to be the energy. And my personal title for him is sports entertainment, but he's obviously got more to say about himself.
Okay, so again, yeah, thanks for guys for coming on. It's definitely it was when I saw your guys' podcast, I had to check you out, and of course, you guys are a boxing podcast, and I haven't talked to a whole lot of boxing podcasts. It's been a lot more UFC and MMA, but not really boxing necessarily. But let's talk about the Jake Paul and Tyro Woodley fight. I personally was hoping Woodley would win, and he almost had that win. Technically, he almost got the knockout in the fourth round, but that was about it. What did you guys just think about the fight in general?
Yeah. You want me to do it? All right, no worries. You know what? If I'm completely honest with you, in terms of sort of the boxing culture, the boxing history, of course, you obviously wanted Woodley to win the fight. But for me, Jake Paul, as much as you might not like the antics off the ring, in the ring, he obviously did the job. And for me, he got the decision. And look, when I was watching it live, I felt it was close. But when I watched it again, I just felt that Woodley didn't do enough in terms of applying the pressure to, convince the judges to get the result. So even though he had a good fourth round when he nearly knocked down Jake Paul, for me, it still wasn't enough for him to obviously get the decision, because I felt that Jake Paul ended up going up a level on the 7th round onwards to reclaim the victory, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, with me, I feel that Jake Paul wouldn't want to rematch Woodley, because I feel that Woodley's been inactive for like, is it over 2 years? I feel that it was a close fight, but personally, watching it again, I think it should have been a draw, because I feel that Woodley was applying more pressure, and Jake Paul was, he was, how can I put it? He was running more. Woodley was more active, where Jake wasn't as active as Woodley. And I feel that shot, I think it was the right hook he got, that should have been counted as a knockdown. But again, because it's his hometown, pay-per-view, they had to give it to him.
Yeah, what I took away from the fight was Tyron Woodley looked good for his first fight, to be honest with you. To go from MMA to boxing is just a completely different sport. Even though it's similar, it's not the same. And he actually, I thought, threw better punches and harder ones. But the thing was, Jake Paul had more punches technically. And I think that was a huge advantage of it. And of course, the judges were probably a little on Jake Paul's side because it was hosted by Jake Paul, which is one thing, is the one downside about boxing, in my opinion. But I think, again, Jake Paul is a better fighter than we give him credit for. I just think if he actually fought a real boxer, it would be different, like a Tommy Fury, which we were talking about earlier before we started recording. But speaking of Tommy Fury, do you think he'll actually fight Tommy Fury in his next fight?
Jake Paul is a novice. Like, he needs more and more fights before he fights the likes of Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is a professional boxer. He comes from a boxing background. Jake, he's a YouTuber. And he's learning, But I feel that if he was to go in the ring right now with the likes of Tommy Fury or anybody else in the professional boxing, game over. I mean, put it this way, everybody he's fighting, they're either an MMA fighter or YouTuber, somebody that he knows he's got an advantage over. There's no way Jake is going to fight the likes of Canelo. Well, not now anyway. He's not going to fight Tommy Fury. If he does, then boy, but nah, I can't see that happening. Not yet.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. I can't see it happening. But the reason why I can't personally see it happening is not even based on the whole situation of Jake Paul being a novice, and with obviously Tyson, Tommy Fury being the pro boxer who's obviously had more experience. I just felt that Tommy Fury needed to, have an explosive win, maybe a knockout, to really cause a bit of a stir for the media to, build up this match between both fighters, because Tommy Fury ultimately should have gone to the States, got the job done like Daniel Dubois, and, put more of a statement out there for him to warrant a fight against Jake Paul, because at the end of the day, for me, as much as you might not like his sort of character, but for me, he's done the job to be a prize fighter in this division, and he's obviously done a fantastic job to maintain that statement of being that YouTuber who's changing the world.
I feel that Tommy Fury, when he fought Anthony Taylor, I think it was just a warm-up for him, I think maybe it was just a game plan, just to make Jake Paul think, Tommy Fury's probably easy. Because bear in mind, Tommy Fury's only had, is this his 5th fight, right? Professional fight?
Sixth, I believe.
Yeah. So I think it's part of the game plan. But he got the win. So if anything, Jake Paul should think, I can fight Tommy. I've got confidence now. Let me fight him. But his management team will advise him, don't do it, Jake. If anything, fight the likes of maybe Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I've heard about that rumor. I just don't know if McGregor necessarily wants to fight Jake Paul, even though I think it would be definitely a big spectacle and it would definitely give a huge payday for both fighters. And now I think McGregor was listed as the number one, I think he's the richest athlete according to Forbes or something like that. So I guess it's not necessarily a desperate move by him, but I think he is a free agent from the UFC, I think at the end of the year, I believe. So that's a thing to kind of look out for, I believe. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure he's a free agent. But again, we'll see what happens there. I do think he wants to fight Poirier one more time and hold the belt at least one more time, but we'll see what ends up happening there. But Again, and there was a few things I took away from the fight, but I don't know. The fight kind of was similar, and this is kind of a shot in the dark, and I know it's a little crazy to mention, but if you remember when Pacquiao and Mayweather fought back, I think it was in 2015.
Yeah.
When I saw the fight, I thought Pacquiao had more powerful punches, but he didn't throw as many as Mayweather did. And I kind of felt like that was the fight between between Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. Paul had more punches, but Woodley technically had more powerful punches. But I don't know. Did you guys kind of have a similar feel to that fight back in 2015?
Yeah, most definitely. I felt that fight could have either gone either way. But honestly, I got that same vibe. I'm not gonna lie. Bienja, what do you think?
I think the fight was overhyped. What they had to just sell tickets, but it could have been. I was expecting to see a knockout. A knockout. That's what I was expecting to see. Something explosive, like boom. But who knows? There's a possibility that they may do it again. There's a slim chance, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I would love to see that, to be honest with you. I think Woodley wants to, but I think Woodley might need to have one more professional boxing fight with another person before he fights Jake Paul again, just so he has the experience. Because you kind of saw that there was a little lack of experience with Woodley. But I mean, okay. Did you have anything else to add there, Trey?
No. I'm agreeing with exactly what you're saying. You're absolutely spot on.
Okay. Yeah, and it was interesting to see though, because Woodley is a better fight, had a pretty good showing what he showed on Sunday night. I think the lack of experience, you definitely saw that in round 4 when he didn't take advantage when Jake Paul was in the ropes. But I don't know. I think both fighters are better than we like to give them credit for, but I don't know. We'll end up seeing. And there's another matchup too that I think could be interesting. Or actually, who do you think would be the next best matchup for Jake Paul?
Ooh.
I think Jake Paul and Jake Paul, KSI, or Jake Paul and Conor McGregor. Those two.
For me, because he's obviously fought his brother has to try and get revenge. So it's KSI for me. I want to see that fight. I want to see KSI get back to camp, just get away from the music, get into camp and, get in that fight with Jake Paul. I definitely feel we'll do numbers, especially in the UK. And it's YouTubers, 2 YouTubers battling out for that title. So I think they should make some sort of legitimate championship on the line as well, just to make it a bit juicy. The undisputed YouTuber, just something that would just bring a little twist in the fight. So KSI would be the main opponent for me. What do you think?
I think that would be interesting. And again, I was talking to that same friend that I was talking to is actually a podcaster I was talking to as well. But he actually mentioned that KSI could be the next opponent. I think he also talked about Kamaru Usman being maybe a matchup. I know Usman and Paul were talking back. I think it was either May or June. That they were kind of talking smack to each other. But all right, before we continue with our interview with the Touching Gloves podcast, I'd like to talk a little more about Ether Diamonds. Now, Ether Diamonds, they are some of the highest quality diamonds that you can buy and certified by the IGI, which is the world's largest independent laboratory for testing and grading gemstones and fine jewelry. Now, you're no longer stuck having to choose between mined and regular lab-grown diamonds, both of which harm the environment. Ether offers the only true sustainable diamonds on the market, requiring no ethical or environment trade-offs. They're the only guilt-free diamonds available in the world. To learn more about these revolutionary diamonds from air, visit their website at etherdiamonds.com and follow them again on social media at Ether Diamonds. And again, their website and their social media sites will be down in the description below. All right, let's continue with our interview with the Touching Gloves podcast. Usman would be interesting, but KSI, I don't really think much about KSI because again, he fought with Logan Paul twice and he won, and then they had a draw the next time they fought. That would be interesting. And I don't know, you mentioned they should make a belt like the YouTube. I don't know, what weight class would that be? Would that be
cruiserweight, wasn't it?
Cruiserweight? Yeah, I believe
cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it's cruiserweight. But the only thing is, sorry to cut it, Trey, KSI has been inactive, so I feel that Paul will have more advantage at the moment. So I don't think that should happen right. That shouldn't fight happen next. I think that fight should happen later on next year.
Yeah, I think you're right as well, and it's good. I just kind of want to see Jake Paul get humbled. I understand he's a decent fighter, but I just get so annoyed with his, antics, off and on and off the ring. It gets a little annoying, but he is a better professional fighter than we give him credit for. It's just, if he actually fought a real boxer, then we'd see how good of a fighter he really is. And just, it doesn't seem like he's going to fight someone his own size for a while until he gets up to speed or whatever. But eventually I think he will be humbled. I don't know what fighter that's going to be. So, I mean,
he could potentially fight his brother.
Yeah.
Logan Paul.
Yeah.
I did hear. Oh, sorry. You can continue with that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, would you get in the ring with your bro?
I mean,
guys, that question is directed for both of you. Would you get in the ring with your brother?
Nah, I wouldn't. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
No.
Like I said, I did hear something about the Jake Paul and Logan Paul fight, but it doesn't seem it doesn't seem Logan Paul is as dedicated to boxing as much as Jake Paul, which is interesting because Logan Paul was the one that started this when he fought KSI the first time, and all of a sudden he's fought 2 or 3 times. I guess the Mayweather fight didn't matter. That was kind of a waste of money. But I thought that, again, Jake Paul or Logan Paul doesn't seem as motivated boxing as much as Jake Paul does. And I think it's more of a Jake Paul thing. I don't think they'd fight either. I think there's too much of there's just too much of a friendship, I guess I would say, between the two. I don't necessarily think there's something that they really want to go against each other, but I think it would definitely sell some pay-per-views. That's for sure. But who do you actually, if Logan Paul gets back into the ring, who do you think would be his next opponent?
Ooh, that's an interesting one, Logan Paul. So I believe he fought as a heavyweight, right? I believe came in.
I don't know. I mean, the person I remember him calling out, not so much calling out, he was just being disrespectful to a rapper called, is it Little Baby or The Baby? One of them. But I can't really see him fighting anyone in professional boxing. If anything, I could probably see him fighting someone in the WWE. Yeah.
Probably get into that field, yeah.
Yeah, because I think what Logan Paul was at the SummerSlam, or what was he at? He was at somewhere. Was it back in the spring? He was doing something with the WWE. I can't quite remember, but he did something of that. And I don't know. I didn't hear much about between him and the rapper Little Baby, but I mean, I guess that would be interesting. I think Logan Paul, I think he wants to fight another boxer. I just don't know if he's quite as motivated as much as Jake is. I mean, do you have anything else you want to add there?
If anything, I think Logan Paul, he should fight the likes of Mike Tyson exhibition fight. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
I think Mike's 55, 56. I think Mike will humble him.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I think there's definitely a rivalry between the two. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, Logan Paul would probably do it because he's in his 50s, and Logan Paul's a lot younger, Logan Paul's a lot younger, and he fought Floyd Mayweather. But I'll be honest with you, that fight was just a setup. I mean, that wasn't an actual fight.
Yeah.
So
because I remember a lot of people saying, Floyd done bad. I'm like, no, put it this way. If it was a non-exhibition fight and it was a real fight, I guarantee Floyd would have probably knocked him out, because every round Logan was struggling. He was going to his corner. He was out of breath. He was gassed out. So Floyd even said it like, look, I got paid 100 mil. Easy money. Easy.
That was a robbery. Daylight robbery, essentially, because Mayweather just wanted to demonstrate his boxing skills against a heavier man. And he's just having fun. And I think the way Mayweather explained it in the press conference was just spot on. He said there's one guy that's motivated. He's doing boxing sparring sessions. He's training every day. I'm flying to Dubai. I'm flying to all different countries, and I get this opportunity. Of course, he's going to go and take it. And
do you know what? I would like to see Jake Paul and Floyd Mayweather, non-exhibition fight, 12 round. That's a fight I would like to see. Because I feel that Floyd felt disrespected by Jake Paul, and I feel that Jake Paul, he reckons that his brother Logan beat Floyd. He didn't because of exhibition, but that would be an excellent fight. I'll do numbers. Definitely do numbers. Showtime, pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think any type of. Oh, sorry. Did you have anything else to add to that, Troy?
No. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my bad. But I think any type of fight between Paul and Mayweather, they're gonna draw a big pay-per-view. But I think, if we had gone back, 5 or 10 years, and Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather were had actually done about 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, Floyd Mayweather probably would have knocked him out, or at least won it easily. And I think there might have been something in the contract that said no knockout. I had a feeling about something like that. And yeah, Logan Paul seemed like he was really tired after every round. You mentioned it, like he was very tired after every round. You could tell after the fight, he was just exhausted.
Yeah.
And I think he was kind of stunned a little bit, even though he's probably in the contract that he was still able to survive. But again, I think just if you had been even 5 years ago, Floyd Mayweather probably would have easily convinced people that he would have won that. I don't know if it would have been a knockout, but I think it would have been close to one. But and then again, as you mentioned, Logan or Jake Paul versus Floyd Mayweather, that'd be interesting. I just think that I would want that to actually be a fight, not an exhibition. However, I think that would probably actually work if, because I think, again, Logan Paul is more serious, and I think he would, or not Logan Paul, Jake Paul, excuse me, I keep on getting mixed up, but I think he would much rather have a real fight than an exhibition, but it would be interesting. I just want to see Jake Paul fight someone his size and an actual real boxer, but I don't know. We'll end up seeing what happens. Let's stay in the boxing universe. The Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight's going to finally happen in October. I'm pretty excited. I was a little disappointed it didn't happen. And of course, the winner will probably fight Anthony Joshua for the undisputed belt. But what do you guys think about that fight? And who do you think has the advantage?
Hey, do you know what? I'm going to say it's 50-50 because anything can happen. Because look, Fury is a good boxer. Wilder is he's got that one punch power. Wilder has said, you could be great for the whole 12 round. I just need a second. But I don't know. It's going to be a close one because the first fight, Wilder knocked Fury down twice and it was a draw. The second fight, Fury just, Fury just finished him. The third fight, I don't know because I feel that this is legitimate beef where, it's pride and so much is on the line, so whoever wins gets a ticket to fight the likes of AJ. 50-50 for me, man. 50-50.
You know what? I've really, really thought about this for, I would say, months, and I was disappointed, like yourself, that the fight didn't happen earlier. And I just feel, for me, this might be even controversial, but I think Wilder's going to do it. I think he's going to be the champion again. I think that eraser right now, he's going to learn to utilize it with Malik Scott. Yes, a lot of people are going to argue that why is he going to have a trainer who obviously he knocked out in the first round during his sort of come up to that championship. For me, I just feel that he's more hungrier. When a champion loses that title, there's that bit of energy that you are able to generate to try and get that back. And I just feel that Fury is going to be a little bit more complacent and feel that I'm going to walk over this guy again. And that's where I feel that Wilder's going to, nail him to the ground this time.
Yeah, I think the last time they fought was back, in 2020, right before the pandemic. And I think both of them haven't fought in a year and a half. So it's kind of crazy how long they both haven't fought in a while. But I would think that, or not Wilder, I would think Fury would have the advantage. And of course, the last fight, he just dominated Wilder. But I don't know if I really have someone to predict. I really need to look at the fight more. And I feel like it's going to be, do you guys think it's going to be a knockout, or do you think it's actually going to go the full 12 rounds?
Nah, it has to be a knockout. Mate, it has to be a knockout. It has to be a knockout. If it goes for 12 rounds, it's going to be like, it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
Somebody has to get knocked out.
Someone's getting knocked out. Someone's getting nailed to the ground, because I think it's got past that point of personal. It's past that point now. It's personal, the fight. you know, with the whole allegations about the second fight, you know, Fury doesn't fully respect Wilder. There's just back and forth between these two. So I feel the only way to confirm that this guy is the best is by a knockout. And I just feel that someone's getting knocked out. And in my personal opinion, I'm going to put it out there. I think Wilder's going to be the 2-time WBC champion.
Ooh. Like I said, 50-50. I'm sticking to 50-50.
Well, before I thought that Fury was going to win this fight, but now talking to you guys, it's really, I don't know. I might predict Wilder. I mean, I don't know, man. I just feel like that Fury, I just have a feeling that Fury is going to win this, but talking to you guys, I might actually have my opinion change, because it seems like you guys really think Wilder's going to do it. And, you know, that would not be surprising. I mean, I just think that this fight is going to be epic, but the fight after that between whoever wins this versus Anthony Joshua is also going to be epic. We can finally decide who the overall champion in the heavyweight division. It's crazy to see how many divisions in boxing there are. Yeah. And it's kind of crazy. I just think that's another topic we can discuss in a later day, but that's another thing that kind of, you know, frustrates me with boxing. But I think this is just going to be very, very epic, because I think the fight after that's going to be more anticipated between Joshua and whoever wins this fight. But, you know, talking to you guys, I might have Wilder right now as the advantage now that you guys have mentioned that you think he's going to end up winning. But do you guys have anything else you want to add to this fight before we end the interview?
Yeah, I just want to put out there that, look, this is going to be a tremendous fight. Obviously, I'm not a promoter or anything like that, but guys, whoever watching the fight, tune in. It's going to be fireworks. I see a knockout. Someone's getting nailed to the ground.
All right. So again, thanks for coming on, guys. Again, don't forget to check out the Touching Gloves podcast. Also, do you guys have anything in store for the future for your podcast before we officially end the interview?
Sure.
Yeah. Pretty much just, you know, we've got episodes coming out every Sunday, 7 p.m. No, it's actually 8 p.m. UK time. And we've actually got a very, very, very special topic coming up. So we're going to be promoting it in the socials. So you can follow me at yours truly Trade 29, and obviously follow Touch Gloves NAF.
Okay. All right. Again, thanks for coming on, guys. Again, don't forget to check out the Touching Glove podcast. You can find Apple Podcasts, Spotify. What are you guys all on social media? Is it Instagram, Twitter? Okay.
You can find me on everything. So just type yours truly Trade 29. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. And we're going to make things happen, especially with the Touch Gloves boxing podcast. So just guys tune in. And I can't wait. It's going to be a tremendous journey for everyone here.
Okay.
Well, I'm on Instagram. I'll go by the name of BNG, BIYENGE.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Again, thanks for coming on, guys. And of course, this interview will come out very soon. But again, thanks for coming on, guys. And have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Alrighty, it's time for our last segment of the show, and that is questions from Instagram, where I answer 3 fan sports questions. Now, if you want to be part of questions from Instagram, just type in your question on the STP Pod Instagram story whenever it comes out, and most likely I will answer your question and give you a shout out on the most recent episode. All right, let's get started. Now, the first question comes from @Brady_Johnson66. He asked, how many more years could you see Belichick coaching in the NFL? Well, it's a great question. I can see at least 2 or 3 more years. I still feel like he wants to prove that he can win without Tom Brady. However, it's going to be really hard to succeed, especially with how good the AFC is right now. I don't think the Patriots will succeed, at least this season, but again, anything's possible. I think Mac Jones is a solid quarterback. I don't know if he'll ever be a superstar, but I think he's good enough to win you games and not to turn the ball over. But I just think the AFC is going to be so tough, and especially with the AFC East being in Buffalo's division, and I think even the Dolphins are probably better than they are. So right now they're kind of stuck at that 3rd spot. I think they're going to be mediocre. I have them going 8-9 this season, but we'll see what happens. But again, thanks for the question @Brady_Johnson66. And to answer your question, I think 2 or 3 more years. The next question comes from @Jaden Lewis, and he asked, could you see Tommy Fury fighting Jake Paul in this next fight? Now, we've mentioned Tommy Fury a lot in this episode, but I do think it's going to happen at some point. I think it's going to be his next match, but I really can't see anybody else. Maybe Kamaru Usman, as I just mentioned. Maybe Conor McGregor, but I don't think McGregor's desperate, so that's kind of his problem right now. But I think Tommy Fury would be his next matchup, but it's going to be really tough to see, and it's going to be interesting because I've also heard of some of KSI, so we'll see what happens, but I would probably bet Tommy Fury. But again, thanks for the question @Jaden Lewis. And this last question comes from @Roy for the win. He asked, how excited are you for college football this season? Well, I'm pretty excited. I mean, I'm glad fans are back. It's back to a normal season, back to what we were in back in 2019. It's going to be interesting because we've already seen some upsets like UNC getting beat by Virginia Tech. Ohio State kind of had a scare against Minnesota. Now, I think Alabama at the moment of the time of this recording are kicking Miami's butt. But I think it's going to be an interesting season, and I can't wait to see what happens. Again, this is probably one of the last few years that we'll actually see the way the linemen. I mean, next year, everything could happen differently. But again, at the moment, I'm very excited for college football season. All right, again, thanks for the question @Roy for the win. All right, that is it for this episode. Again, if you want to be part of Questions from Instagram, just type in your sports question on the STP pod story, and I will most likely answer it and give you a shout out on the most recent episode. All right, peace.